All right, let's begin some audio clip editing right here within Adobe Premiere Pro. It's simple and intuitive as editing a video clip. We're going to use keyframes, we're going to use the source monitor and the timeline. So what we're going to do is adjust the volume of the music so that it gets quieter when people are speaking. So when the audio 1 track is active, when we're speaking, we need audio 2 to get quieter. First thing I'm going to do is come down to audio 2, and I'm just going to make this a little bit thicker so it's easier to see. And then I want you to notice I'll click away so it's not selected. In all the audio clips, we have this horizontal white line. There's one right here, and there's one right here. This is actually where the volume line is set. So yeah, as I'm hovering over this white line right now, where'd that tooltip go? Come back. Ugh, every time I move. There we go. It shows that the volume level is at 0. So that's our starting point. From there, we can add or remove decibels to make it louder or quieter. Take your playhead to the start of the clip, interview Dwight 1, camera 1, which is this one right here. So snap it to the head of that. Should be at about 1817. And with our selection tool, we're going to come down into audio 2. This is the music, and we're going to select this white line, this sound line, and we're going to drag it down until the pop-up tooltip, that's going to be below it in light gray, says we're at a -3 to -4 decibels, so quieter. So I'm going to take this line right here, click and drag down, and you see that tooltip? It's way down at the bottom of my screen. So somewhere between -3 and -4. I'm at a -3.8 right now. I'm going to let go. So what that did was it made the audio quieter. I'll hit play just to, I should have shown you the before, but here's where we are now. So if you remember back when we first played this, it was really hard to hear Dwight. Now it's just still very hard. All right. So with the clip in audio 2 selected, we want to go to our effect control panel. So I can see it right here as a tab, or if you're into keyboard shortcuts, Shift and the number 5 will get you here as well. So come up to the effect controls, and we're going to come to the volume and twirl it open if it isn't already. So we're going to twirl open the volume. And here's where that -3.8 decibels is. So if I wanted to get to a particular number and I couldn't stop my mouse dragging in the right spot, just like anything else, you can always come into the effect control panel and actually type in a number and really tweak it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change this to a -12. So a -12.0. And then I'm just going to hit tab. When we make that adjustment, because it had been at -3.8, do you see how this keyframe thing lit up here and here and here? So it adds a new keyframe at the current time. We can look at the stopwatch icon next to the word level, and it's activated by default. So because we did that, we just added a keyframe. We're going to hold down the Shift key and right arrow 5 times. Shift and right arrow moves us ahead 5 frames. So Shift right arrow 5 times is actually 25 frames, or about a little over 1 second. So from here, we're going to Shift right arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 25 frames ahead. And we're going to look down at our audio 2, down in here. And at this point, we want to go up to our effect control panel, and we're going to change this from -12 to be a -25 and hit tab to accept that. Notice it pulled that down even lower. So we took our overall volume and we said, you know what, it might be -3.8, but it's still way too loud. So we made it -12, even when nobody's talking, it's at that level. And then when somebody comes into the frame and starts talking, over a 1 second time lapse, we take it from that volume down to much quieter so we can hear them talking. So now it's going to stay at this quiet level until we make a keyframe and anchor it, and then another keyframe up higher later on. All right, I'm going to take the playhead back a little bit. and show you how this is the volume that we decided is acceptable to start, and when it hits this point, it's going to get quieter when Dwight talks.
I'm Dwight, and I'm producing a music video with a crew here at 12 FPS.
Okay, see how that worked? Our beginning sound is a lot quieter than it had been, and that's good. It was pretty overwhelming at first. So now we have it lowered at the point that Dwight is talking. All right, we need to perform several more of these throughout audio 2. So what we need to do, like I said, is after, let's say Dwight was done talking and then nobody was talking for a while, we wouldn't want to just have our next keyframe back up at this high point, because what that would do would be from this low point, it would start going up gradually over all this time and be loud again here. We don't want that. We want it to anchor at the low point and only take a 1-second run to get back up to being loud when there are no speakers anymore. So we need to do another low anchor point before we move on, or keyframe, probably a better word. Let's move our playhead to the end of Interview Adam, Gonna Be Awesome. So it's down here, you can see there's talking, got Philip, and then we have Dwight, and then we have Adam, and then we have Tyler, and then we have the dancers, moving so fast. Good grief, I should have made my timeline smaller. Okay, here we go. Finally, this is the end. So I'm going to come here to the tail of it. Throughout this whole time, someone is talking, so we're going to keep it quiet, but over the last 1 second, we're going to take it from this low point back up to the -12 decibels, where we want it to be when we go out from there. So with your playhead at the end of this, we're going to shift and left arrow 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That takes us in 25 frames, a little over a second. And in the Effect Controls panel, we see that we have an empty diamond. It doesn't know how to handle that because it's already at -25. If we typed in a different number, this diamond would light up because it's a change. But it doesn't understand that. So we're going to click on the empty diamond to add another anchor point right here on purpose. Again, we don't want this gradually getting louder over the whole run. We want it to stay quiet and then get louder. From here, we're going to take our playhead to the end of this clip again, and this is where we want the music to come back up. So in our Effect Controls panel, we're going to change the -25 to be a -12 and hit Tab. So from here, it gets gradually louder over that last 1 second, and then it can be loud because nobody's talking. All right, Interview Tyler 2. Let's find that. Get me down here. That's our next one. Whoops. Oh, don't crash on me. Okay, so Interview Tyler 2. We're going to get our playhead there. So again, this sound is going to be loud throughout this duration when nobody's talking. And then once Tyler comes on, over the first 1 second, we want it quickly to get quiet again. So once we've come to this starting point, we need to add another anchor here at this 12 position, because again, if we just went out here and made our low point, it would gradually get quieter from this last anchor point or keyframe to this one, and we don't want that long run. We want it to be keyframed here and just go down over a 1 second. So at this point, at the -12 sound decibel, we want to click to add another keyframe. Come on, keyframe. There we go. So that put our keyframe there, and then we're going to shift and right arrow 5 times. And at this point, we're going to add one at -25 to put that lower keyframe right here as well. Okay, before we go back and play that, we're going to add a couple more. So we're going to take our playhead to the tail of Interview Tyler 2. So we're just going to pull this over, snap it to the tail. And then we're going to go back 25 frames. So shift, left arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at this point, we want to anchor our keyframe at this same point at the negative 25 decibels up here in the effect control panel. So click on the keyframe. That makes your anchor. Then move your playhead to the end of this clip, the video clip up here. And then we want to go back up in sound. So the level is going to be just a negative 12 decibels at this point. So again, got quieter during this clip, got louder for a second, and then it stays loud, and you notice we have a little gap here. The next clip, interview Adam Jeff, get your playhead to the front of that, and we need to add a keyframe right here at this negative 12 point. So we're just going to click up here in the effect panel, we're going to click on the keyframe to get that to show up, and then we're going to shift right arrow 5 times. I don't know if I did 5. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at that point, we're going to come up into our effect control panel and make the negative 25 lower adjustment. All right, and then you can tell what we're doing here. It's kind of getting the idea. We need to go to the end of this clip. And at this point, we need to back up 25 frames. Shift left arrow 5 times. We need to add our keyframe down at this low point. So at negative 25 decibels, we need to add our keyframe. And then go to the end of this video clip. And at this point, we need to add our other keyframe, negative 12, which is louder. So that brings the sound up. All right, let's see. All right, I'm just gonna play a little bit of this so you can see. So follow along and watch the up and down. Remember, this is a higher version, so this is when the music is louder, and then it goes lower or quieter when people speak.
Some beautiful imagery happening. I can't wait. This is gonna be awesome.
Thought it was great when that fog first came out. Just blasted them.
I love the fog.
Fog blast.
Loved it.
Okay, so you get the idea. That's how we can control our background music not being so loud. And if your background music just in general was too loud, like we saw it was before, remember you can play with that horizontal white line, this one right here. So maybe your audio isn't quite loud enough that you recorded with your movie. Take that horizontal line and make it louder, pull it up and see if the overall loudness works better that way as well. So there's lots of different ways you can tweak it, but something you're going to want to do in your group commercial and your final product is to definitely make sure that when people are talking, the audio goes down and is quieter when they're speaking on screen. So that's a must do. All right, the next thing that we're going to look at is when the instrumental clip in audio 2 ends. I'm going to come down here and we go into the audio 3, which is the lyrical version. There's some disparity in their sound, so I'll just play this out for you to show you. You can watch it over here and you'll see a difference also, right in this zone. Just in case you couldn't hear that, we're way up here now. So that disparity in this version, we need to tweak a little bit. All right, so snap your playhead to the head of this vocal clip. I'm going to zoom in. So you can see this is where we were with this last clip, and now it's way up here. So it's obviously some difference here. Select the clip 3, this one down here. And remember that we disabled this clip above it because we didn't need it to play. So select the head of the vocal clip in audio 3, And then in our effect control panel, we can see it's at 0 or the mainline point. We're going to drop that one down to -12. And this line came down. Ignore this line. I was not speaking correctly when I was talking because this is a disabled clip. But if this clip were up here equal, you could tell that if they were stretched to the same height, they would be playing at that same -12 decibels. All right, so at this point, you would hit in your timeline, you would go back all the way to the start, and you would watch the audio mixer, and you would play it through. And you would really take a look at this version to see how audio 2 and 3 behave. So I'm just going to pull this ahead and hit play. So audio 2 is loud, there's nothing in audio 1. And then watch when we do get to talking how audio 2 drops down and audio 1, here we go. See how that dropped all the way down here? And then again, once they're done talking, this would go back up. Also, hopefully what we accomplished at the end, whoops, going the wrong way, is that when we went from audio 2 to audio 3, we shouldn't see that big jump here anymore. So let's give that a try. So here's audio 2. Now audio 3 is going to come in. Perfect. It's at -12 decibels also. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's save the file and move on.